Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. Dill, we got a fascinating one. Billy Napier and the Florida Gators going on the road playing a Miami Hurricanes football team that, Dill, I'll just say this right off the bat. There have not been many, if any, programs that have looked better than Miami through the first 3 weeks of the season. Now, to a casual college football fan, they look at this matchup and say, Florida's 1-2. Lost at home to a USF team that Miami just dog walked on Saturday. This game ain't gonna be close. No, I think to everybody watching this episode, the fans that follow this sport closely know this has every opportunity to be a phenomenal football game Saturday night. Because you look at Florida, Dill, and say it's a top 10 roster in the country. I feel very confident saying that. Hell, Dill, they went on the road, played the number 3 team in the country in Tiger Stadium at LSU. DJ Lagway threw 5 interceptions. They were in that game to the last whistle. Like, shoot, that tells you how good this Florida Gators team is. It's going to be a really fun one. A lot of really good matchups on both sides of the football. Before we get into it, as always, to two fan bases that have shown a ton of love to the boys. Number one, we appreciate you guys. Number two, and I know damn well this is going to happen, let it fly in the comment section. These are the kind of games that make college football great. And Dill, it's funny because the Florida fans are so out on the season right now, 1-2 start. They going to be geared up Saturday night going on the road to play Miami. Let it rip. Appreciate you guys. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Without further ado, Dill, let's get into it. We got to start with this Florida offense, that there are so many portions of this offense that I like, that they just haven't played good football yet. You got to start with DJ. He looks lost. I mean, we've said it all year long. He looks like a quarterback that didn't practice in spring, that barely practiced in fall camp. How does Billy Napier in Florida go about getting DJ Lagway back to playing confident football? Because if he does, we know Florida has a chance in this football game.
Yeah, and I honestly don't exactly know what the answer is. I'm sure if I did, then they'd probably hire me to go be the Florida coach.
I don't think Billy Napier knows the answers either, but he looks
But
lost on
the frustrating part is, you said it, like, between those interceptions, things are going pretty well. Like, they're gaining a lot of yards. They're not being particularly effective in the red zone, and they're turning the ball over at an absolutely
and taking just brutal negative plays too. I mean, the plays that Florida has gotten called back the last 2 weeks, and I'm not saying like they ain't doing it. They doing it. They committing the penalties. This is an offense that continues to shoot themselves in the foot. And the frustrating part about it for Florida fans listening to this, like, ain't any different from the last couple of years we've seen this Florida Gators team under Billy Napier.
But frankly, that's what makes them dangerous, because at the end of the day, when they're playing solid and if they can avoid those major pitfalls, they're going to be a problem for this Miami team, just like they're a problem for any team in the country. So that is kind of like the crux of the issue when you get to Florida, because like they run the ball pretty well. That offensive line, I think, was playing pretty well in that LSU game. Like, they played well for most of the year. And they have a really good stable of wide receivers. Like Vernell Brown, that true freshman wideout, is awesome. So I think it starts still, like, is Florida going to be able to test this Miami interior defense? Like, they bowed up and made it happen against Notre Dame. I'm sure Florida is going to try to start. And
that's what you do. There's zero question about it. Like, what's the best way to try to settle in DJ Lagway? Because he just looks lost. Like, he's not seeing it. He's dropping his eyes, just throwing the ball up for grabs. How do you get a young quarterback to settle into a football game? Run the football. And look, we think Florida has the offensive line to do it. I think Jaden Ball, personally, is the most underrated running back in the entire country. I think this kid's an absolute stud. You're going up against the Miami Hurricanes defense where, Dill, I think it's fair to say the defense is fixed from what we've seen the first 3 weeks. Did a really good job dealing with Jeremiah Love week 1. That's the shot that I think Florida has, is can you get the run game going? Can you work some play action? Can you simplify the picture for DJ Lagway? Because, Dill, if you're dropping back and throwing the football all game, this is the best pass rush by far Florida will have seen. And, Dill, look, I'm confident with Austin Barber on the left. Actually really like the interior of the offensive line as well. That right tackle position, whether it's Bryce Lovett, whether it's Caden Jones, it's a problem. And guess what? Whether it's Ruben Bain, whether it's Akeem Mesidor, one of them is going to be coming off the edge. And there has not been a better edge rusher duo in the entire country than Ruben Bain and Nakeem Mesidor. If you can't run the football on the road and you find yourself dropping back and throwing the football a lot, I struggle to see Florida go on the road and get this game done.
And that's where Miami, I think, has been able to put themselves in a really good spot, because I still don't know that we totally know how deep this interior defensive line is. Like, they're really only playing 3 guys for
Yeah,
the most
agreed.
part. I don't think you know that, or they don't feel particularly comfortable, at least it seems, with their
Yeah.
4th guy. The thing Miami does is they keep the ball in their hands for a good chunk of the game with their run scheme, and what Carson Beck's been able to do on 3rd down with Malachi Toney. I will say Florida is probably the toughest team so far in terms of being able to shut down a rushing attack and be really physical in the front 7. And that'll be kind of the question. I feel like that is, let's say, the path for this Florida team is if they can really establish this, get into the depths of this Miami defense, and not allow Miami's offense to just grind them out and control the ball.
Yeah, I think there's one clear key for Miami. Just don't give up the explosives, right? Like make this Florida Gator offense execute 12 straight plays for 75 yards and scoring a touchdown, because they can't, right? Whether it's taking negative plays, whether it's committing penalties, whether it's turning the football over, this team can be explosive. Like Jaden Baugh can get loose. Vernell Brown can get loose. We know DJ Lagway, when he's playing decent football, can throw the deep ball. He hasn't really done it all that well this year. Do not give Florida free points. If you make them go execute and you don't give up the explosive plays, you should be in pretty good shape. And Dill, I love 2 things. One, I love how solid the secondary has been. Like, not a lot of blown coverages. Number 2, what I love, they're tackling, man. Like, only 22 missed tackles on the year so far. Though Miami was pushing 180 missed tackles last year. They're tackling way better. And so if you can limit the amount of explosives that Florida hits and force them to execute, you feel pretty good if you're Corey Heatherman in this Miami Hurricanes defense.
Because at the end of the day, Florida have to get way out of character and execute really consistently, which they just haven't.
You're literally making them. You're like, hey, Billy Napier, DJ Lagway. Can Billy Napier not call some foolish plays that lead to negative plays? And can DJ Lagway keep the ball out of harm's way? It hasn't been something you've seen yet. Go make him do that on the road, right? Offensive side of the football for Miami. This is what I'm most excited for, because I'm going to say it right now, Dill. This is the best defense they played all year, and I mean that, right? I think I'm taking this Florida defense over what I've seen from Notre Dame thus far. The biggest storyline for me is what I think could be the best offensive line in the country in Miami versus what I think is a very, very good defensive line that has multiple guys that will be going to the NFL on that Florida Gators defensive line. Can Miami continue to have success running the football? And can Miami continue to have success protecting Carson Beck? Because that's been the storyline, man. Like, you look at Carson Beck's numbers when he is kept clean, an 82% completion percentage, 5 touchdowns to 0 interceptions. When he's facing pressure, which has not been very often this year, but when he is facing pressure, 60% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Who wins that battle? Can Miami run the football? Can they protect Carson Beck? Or does Florida's defensive line give a test to Miami that they haven't seen thus far this year?
And that is kind of the interesting thing, because as much as I think we thought Notre Dame was going to be able to really test
No,
that
they couldn't.
offense, Notre Dame's defense isn't playing particularly great. You just saw them go and give up a zillion points to Texas A&M, and I don't mean to say that like, well, the pass rush has been a problem, but and I don't mean to say that to say Notre Dame's like a trash defense. Like, I do think A&M's a good offense. I think Miami's a good offense. But I'm looking at this Florida defense, the way they were playing, like the fact
they're
that
great.
LSU only scored 20 points and one of them was a pick 6.
Yeah.
This defense is playing unbelievably well. They're getting after it really well with their front 4 in the pass rush.
Yep.
And then where I think they really get problematic is their linebackers are just so athletic. They cover so much ground. I do think Malachi Toney will be a decent matchup.
That's the matchup.
LSU really struggled to deal with that slot position for
Florida.
Here,
Dill, let me tell you something there. Like, when you look at the coverage grades for Florida's secondary, now I'm kind of swaggered. I'm kind of taking your take right now, so I apologize for it. But I had my numbers written down, so I had to get it out. Florida's boundary cornerback's been really good, really dang good. Whether it's Dejon Johnson, whether it's Kermani, whether it's Devin Moore. What's been a problem are those nickel defenders. Aaron Gates, Sharif Denson. Well, who's been Miami's guy? And look, like CJ Daniels been a guy, Keenan Marion's been a guy, but the guy is Malachi Tony. Like when it's 3rd and 5 and Miami needs to play, that's who they're going to go to. And that's a matchup that I think you love if you're a Miami Hurricane fan, because those nickels for Florida have not been all that good. That is the matchup that I'm looking at as well. Let's get into the pick here, Dale. Right? When Florida on the road, 9.5-point dogs to the Miami Hurricanes. Who are you taking here?
I think Florida is going to keep this game tight. Like 9.5 is a big. I would have thought this would be like maybe around 5. And I know Miami's home and their crowd is showing up, and it is going to be, I imagine, a good home field advantage for especially what Miami typically, I feel like, gets. But Florida's just such a good team, and it's so frustrating to watch DJ Lagway play the way he's playing, because like this team would be right in the thick of things for a playoff contention and possibly national championship contention. He isn't giving them a shot right now, yet they're staying in these football games. So give me Florida to cover 9.5. That's a big spread. I don't have any real faith that Florida is going to win this because they aren't making winning plays like what Miami is doing. But I do think that they're going to keep this game tight because they're too good of a roster.
I feel great about my Miami pick.
You feel great?
Yeah. Because I look at it and say I now rewatch the game. There's something up with DJ Lagway, not from like a health standpoint. It's like this kid's seeing ghosts out there, and I think it only got worse going on because we saw the problem existed against USF, and the problem even existed maybe against Long Island too. He just looks really jittery in the pocket, very quick to not have settled feet, very quick to drop his eyes. It's not going to get any better going on the road and dealing with this Miami Hurricanes pass rush. And what I've seen from these defensive backs in terms of holding up against some good wide receivers, I buying stock in that. I would be stunned if Florida is able to hit a lot of explosive plays and put points up on the board.
And that is the thing. Miami is giving nothing easy. And that was just a stark contrast to what they were last year. And if you don't give nothing easy to this Florida team, then that is where it gets hairy, because they're not executing down the field and they're not scoring touchdowns, which is probably the biggest issue.
And look, do I think Miami is going to go up and down on this Florida defense? No, I have too much respect for what you said. Like this Florida defense is good. When it comes down to who's at home, Miami's at home. What quarterback do I mean, there's not many quarterbacks that are playing better than Carson Beck to start the year. What quarterback do I trust more in this moment right now? Trust Carson Beck. And then what lines of scrimmage play do I trust right now? Overall, I trust Miami.
Yeah, I feel like that's like neck and neck personally.
Okay, fair enough.
I would give Miami's offensive line the nod, but these front sevens just be like banging against each other.
And this is rare, but it happens because Miami fans know how I sometimes feel about Mario Cristobal in big games, but he's proven me wrong this year. What head coach do I trust more in this football game? It is clearly Mario Cristobal. And to give Mario Cristobal credit, they're making plays to win games like they did against Notre Dame. They're taking care of business when they need to take care of business, like against USF. Mario Cristobal is getting him y'all know how I feel about him as an overall head coach. Big fan of him. But as an in-game guy, there's been some problems. Not really so far during the season in 2025. Give me Miami to not only win this game, but to cover the number as well. Let me backtrack for a second. I feel good about Miami winning. Now that I'm thinking about 9.5's a lot, I don't know if I love taking the number because this Florida team is good enough to keep this one close. But when it's time to make plays, which team and which quarterback do I trust the most? Pretty clearly, Carson.
There is a bit of an X factor now with Florida. Like, are they going to be able to keep it together? Because that is another thing that, like,
great question.
I mean, when you have a quarterback playing the way DJ Lagway is playing, and kind of with him as the perception, I think, of what we are going to get from him, that is going to be a question. Because also, you probably do have a very likely a dead man walking at the head coaching spot. So that'll be another thing to kind of.
Here's another storyline. Like last year, it felt different when Florida had their back against the wall because they had this young freshman quarterback that was making super flashy plays. Like it ain't playing as much anymore when your sophomore year quarterback now is let's just call it how it is, losing you football games. right? And so does Florida have that
They're very
same?
likely a 3-0 team if DJ Lagway is playing like average. That's
Yeah, and
probably a
so
fair.
that the question is, does Florida still have that back against the wall mentality in this game? I don't know, because it's a rivalry, maybe, but I don't know if I have as much confidence of back against the wall Billy as I did last year in 2024. We'll close it out here. I'm on Miami. You are on Miami, but you're taking Florida with the points. Going to be a good one and a lot of fun matchups. Appreciate you guys rocking with it. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Appreciate you guys. We're going to talk to y'all later. Peace.